as I pass over to the next session, which is Felix, who's going to talk a bit about some of the built-in functions within Miradi around strategic plan view. So off to you, Felix.
Thank you, Annette. I'm going to start sharing my screen so you see, you should be able to see my view, which is Miradi that I have opened the marine model. Annette, if you can just give me a second, a little sign to tell me if you see that. Okay, perfect. All right. Yes, I'm going to show you around the Miradi software solutions for getting the information out of Miradi. I'll be focusing specifically on the strategic plan and the report templates and a little bit about the export features that we offer. And then Jens Dinga, who will be on the session number 2 next week, that Annette mentioned, he will dive deeper into the export features that we have. All right. So you see my screen, and you've probably all worked within the software, and you see this is the marine model, the generic model that we offer. Contains a whole lot of information in pretty much all of the sections. You can browse around. You see my mouse. I'm going to move my mouse really slow, and I'm going to indicate where it is, but I'll try to bear with me. So up here on the left top corner, you have, well, first of all, the diagram view, right? This is where we are right now. And then if you go click on File, you always have this one feature that says Export the current page as ... And then there we offer four different views. One is the JPEG and the PNG image. So it's two image types that we offer, sort of like taking a screenshot, but much better. And then there's the RTF rich text format file and a tab delimited file. I'm going to show these two, the last two, in just a second. So let's say you would like to export this the current view that you see, especially for the conceptual model as well as the results chains. You'd most probably opt to export this as a JPEG or a PNG. You'll see a little screen pop up that will ask you about the image scale. We recommend to set the scale to 300. If it's a very large model, Miradi will indicate that it's not able to export it because it is too large. So then you have to decrease this number and let's say make it to 200%, 100% to be able to export it. Now I click on export. You choose the folder that you want to export your image to. I set a folder here, Miradi Webinar. This is ours. I'm going to call it JPEG, and we export it. Exporting, and it prompts us a little information box that says the export is complete. And if we look into our folder, this is where we find the image. And if I open it, you see a pretty much, well, a very high quality image that you can zoom in and you can read each individual element in your model. Okay, there's two different file types we offer for the image, which is JPEG and PNG. For those of you that don't know, PNG and JPEG are both compressed files. They offer very high quality, but PNG is usually a little lower in the file size. So in case you're running into troubles size-wise with a large report, let's say, you could use the PNG, and it's sort of like a little smaller. Okay. So these are the two image export features that we offer. I'm going to change the view now, and I'm going over to the target viability view, just to show you quickly. Here we are. There we go. The target viability view is a view where you have a table, and especially for the tables, we offer two different views so that you can edit the information later on. And that is, if we export, click on the export current page as feature, you see that the RTF as well as the tab delimited file types are now available. RTF is the rich text format file. That means it can be opened in any word processing file like Microsoft Word or OpenOffice. So I'm going to just quickly save it as an RTF within the same folder. It's exported. I'm going to open that document, and you see it's pretty much a one-to-one export of the view that we just saw, right? So it gives you exactly what you see. That also means that if I, for example, expand the sharks to the indicator, there we are. as well as the measurements. And if we do the same thing again and export as an RTF, we would see these as well, right? Keep in mind that in every view where we offer a table, you can move the columns around and edit the columns to the style that you would like to have it, and then export. Okay, so there's a lot of editing features available. I'm going to move on to get to the strategic plan, because I want to dive into the strategic plan a little further and show you the options that we have here. So the same applies here. If we go to export the current page as, you get the RTF as well as the tab delimited table, right? So if we would export this view as an RTF, we would get a Word file, or a file that you can open in a Word software, and you would get exactly what you see. Now, what we also have here, there's a little drop down, is there's two different views for the action plan. First of all, we are in the action plan tab right here. So if I would change that and go to strategies contain the objectives, you see that it's sort of that it rearranges the view that we're in right now. Okay, so these are two different action plan views that we offer. And on top of that, we also offer a customizing option up here, where you can sort of switch to the custom tab here, and then pretty much click or unclick every element there is. Can you still hear me? Okay, good, because it indicates that my connection is on. So we could basically unclick, select or unselect any type or any type of element that we have in Miradi in order to be shown on the left or the right hand side. Okay, and again, you can move these columns around in just about any matter you want. So this is the action plan, the two different types, as well as the customizing view. And then for the monitoring view, just wait a little second, because there's quite some information within this project file. In the monitoring view, you basically get more drop-down options. Here we are. You get the monitoring plan as well as the monitoring data. Okay, so there's two different types of predefined views that we offer, which are the most standard views: the monitoring plan as well as the data, the monitoring data. And again, you could export that as an RTF and open it in a Word. And if you'd like to customize this table, you could customize it the way you want it. So the question now is, if you, let's see if we export this current page as an RTF. Call it RTF2. We get exactly the view that we have at the moment. In a word processing file, what it also does, or in a Word file, it gives you the little elements or the little icons that we have in Miradi, right? So in case you need that, they're all being exported. If you would like to work in a Excel file, there's two different ways to do that. So if we click on File, Export, there's the tab delimited table option that we offer. So if I export this as a tab delimited file, you get a file that you can basically open. Sorry, this is in German, but I'm going to guide you through this. So you click on File, and you click on Open, and you select all file types, right? And you see that we have the tab delimited txt, the text file up here. So it's basically an import of the file that we, of the dump file that we just exported from Miradi. And there's a little pop-up window that comes up. It helps you to import the data. So make sure the first box is highlighted. It says delimited. Click on Continue. Just make sure that tab is highlighted here, standard, and then fix it up. And this is what you get. So gets rid of all of the different the tiny little icons, and it only contains the text in case you need it and want to edit the information the way you want it, or process it maybe the way you want it. In case you need the icons within Excel, what we recommend you doing is you take the RTF that you opened with Microsoft Word or OpenOffice and simply copy. You're going to Control copy this, Control C, copy this table. Go into Excel and paste it into the and paste it into the Excel sheet that we have open. Okay, and then you do a little bit of editing and layouting, and then you end up with an Excel file that also contains the little icons. We believe that this is rarely the case that you really need that, but just in case, this is the way you would do it. Okay. So we're coming to the last but not least feature. Let's create a custom report. There's two custom reports that we already have included at all times. This is the M&E view and the activities and methods. Right. Let's create a table. We start with a blank view. So you see it's completely blank, and we get this little customization window, and let's call this the Miradi webinar table. And let's say we would like to have it display the results change on the very left-hand side. We also want the intermediate results within that. Okay, so if I unfold the results change, you see the intermediate results. Let's say that for the right-hand side, we would like to see the details and let's say the comments, okay, in case there are some. And we close this. This session, or this view is now saved under the Miradi webinar table that we just called it, right? And we could export it now as an RTF and use it in one of our reports. It's still in our Miradi file. Let's say we would then finish our day, finish our week, and come to the point a couple of weeks later where we would like to create a report. And there's also a reports view in Miradi. So if you click on the little drop-down menu, highlight reports, you enter the reports view. So there's a couple of standard reports that we offer. There's first of all the full report, which is basically a complete file of all of the information that you have ever put into Miradi, and it exports it into one large RTF file. And that includes JPEGs or screenshots of the models, the threat ratings, the viability, your team, the details of the scope, the vision, pretty much everything. Okay, this is usually this is quite an excessive report, and usually you wouldn't need everything of it. So there's a summary report of, that you can run, as well as the conceptual models, the results chains, work plan, progress report, all kinds of reports. You also see up here that there's a report template view. We would click that one. We could create a new report. Let's call this one the webinar 1 report. And right now there's no content selected. So we would like to select the content, and we create a custom report. And in this, we want the team, we want the organization, we want all of the information that is on the scope as well as on the location. And because we are reporting on the, let's say, the threats, we do the threat ratings as well. And now if we move down, you also see the custom tables, and you see that there's one custom table in here, which is the Miradi webinar table, just the table that we created in the strategic plan view. So these custom tables also appear within the reports view. And also if you would run a full report, these custom views would also appear in your full report. So we could close this now. check it one more time if the content is the way we want it. And then we could click up here on the run selected and have our custom report, save it, and this would provide us with a file with exactly the content that we have laid out here. So it gives us the team, the organization, scope of vision, some biodiversity features, and then down below here, the threads that it shows, one in detail and one not. And then here's our Miradi webinar table, which is exactly the same file as we already exported, but it's embedded within the larger report. And I'm not quite sure when I started to talk, Annette, how much time do I have left? Should I dive into a little bit more? Because this pretty much covers the most essential details on how to get your information out of Miradi. But I could dive into the details here.
It's great, Felix. You're pretty much out of time. So,
Okay, perfect.
Yep, perfect. Thanks heaps. That was great.